Talking contemporary, I think something I wanted to talk to you about and go off of is something that I like to call a contemporary slump buster. Because something that we've
Ooh,
talked about a
yes.
lot lately is how maybe you only read contemporary or you're in a big contemporary space, that it can be hard to find your next read because it feels formulaic, redundant, something to that aspect, where, different author, different whatever, the plot still feels predictable.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought we should talk about some of our favorites that put the romance not necessarily in the back seat, but have a really heavy plot outside of it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm down. Let's do it.
Okay, so one of the first that comes to mind, I am on a huge Lucy Score kick.
Yes.
She's got a couple that come to mind. The first is her Riley Thorne series. So it starts with
Yes. Yes.
The Dead Guy Next Door, and it's a 4-book series. It is contemporary. There is definitely romance in it, but the main plot is almost like a psychic plus detective solving crimes and heavy humor, very quirky.
Yes.
One of my favorite pickups that I've read to really get me out of that feeling formulaic slumps.
I love it. No, I completely agree with you. I'm obsessed with that series. Like, it is so good. It definitely took me out of a contemporary slump. And I love that the plot is like around, I don't think this is a spoiler. She's a
Yeah.
psychic. And the kind of crime solving aspect of it
Yeah.
totally is a slump buster for me as well. Another recent contemporary slump buster for me, where I felt it really took out of that like formula. Romance was at the forefront, but it still took me out of it because so much else was happening, was absolutely Wild Side by Elsie Silver. That was like a contemporary where I was like feeling I really needed a fantasy romance or a paranormal romance, but then we did read Wild Side and it was a 5-star read. Like it was a slump buster for me, I
Yeah.
think, because it is romance forward, but there's so much else going on with the female main character, her sister, her nephew, like just kind of like the family dynamic and family trauma, for lack of a better word, that
Yeah.
it is romance forward, but I think a little different, you know?
Yeah, I think the plot, for it to be a quote unquote slump buster in this
Okay.
scenario, a qualifier, is that it just has to feel like the romance is a complementary aspect rather than the
Gotcha.
point. You know what I mean? And
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
that's where contemporary starts to feel, for lack of a better word, formulaic, is when it feels like the whole point is the romance.
Yes.
Another one of these is the Catherine Cowell series. She's got
Oh,
the
yeah.
Beautiful Exile, Fragile, Sanctuary, that whole series. It was my first step into suspense romance
Yeah.
where there's, again, still a very solid love storyline, but there is so much else happening in the plot, and specifically fear tension based, that
Mm-hmm.
has
Mm-hmm.
you just destroying this book and stressed the whole time. And you
Yes.
care about the relationship. It's important, but it is not the forward thinking thought. You're thinking, when is this other shoe going to drop, or what's going on over here? And that was such a unique style for me, where I don't pick up one of her books and go, I know what's going to happen. Like every single time I feel
Yes.
a level of anxiety and stress.
Yes. Yes. No, I completely agree. Those books are like, they hook you. There
Mm-hmm.
is a book hook. It comes out of the book and it hooks you. Like
Book
those are
hook.
so good. A book hook. Like they come and they get you out of it's so good. Another one for me, there is romance. It's ongoing romance. A couple of characters fall in love over the course of the series, but it is not the main factor as well. It is the Housemaid series. It's a contemporary setting. It's more of like a crime thriller mystery type book. There's an ongoing romance through all of the books, but definitely not the forefront. And oh my gosh, talk about a slump buster. Listen to that book or read it. Like you will be hooked immediately and you need to know what happens. Like there's always a twist you do not see coming. And even though you know a twist is coming, I've still never predicted it. Every time I know a twist is coming, I never know what it actually ends up being. So good.
The only other one I can think of top of mind, also Lucy Score. Like I said, I feel like Lucy Score has her books are definitely bigger. And a lot of times when I sit down with them, I'm like, wow, this is going to be 500 pages. I don't know about that, man. Especially in a contemporary. But what I found is she does such a good job of additional plot or additional humor, additional life around the characters that I care a lot more. And again, it doesn't feel like I'm just pushing this romance forward uphill. And one of the big ones, it's one of my all-time favorites, is Rock Bottom Girl, because
I was just thinking that
the whole story is more about this girl starting over. What I really like about Lucy Score too, she tends to focus on like 30 to 40 age range, which I think is unique, especially in contemporary. I think we read a lot about college to outside of college, which is fine. Like, you know, like I read it, don't get me wrong. But it's nice to read stories where people are starting over or at a different point in life, where it's not this fresh-faced, innocent, for lack of a better way to put it, not even necessarily innocent, but just starting out, getting everything right sort of thing. I love reading these stories of starting over, because so many people do start over in different ways all the time. She has a way of writing, finding yourself, finding where you belong, finding what to do. And Rock Bottom Girl is like a top tier one for me.
Agreed. I was totally thinking of that one. Oh my gosh, it's so good. And I love about like that book as well as the Riley Thorne series. I cannot say enough good things about it, because I think, to your point, we're kind of sold this idea that, you know, by a certain age all the time, you see it in media all the time, by a certain age you have to have XYZ figured out, all this, whatever. That does not happen for the majority of people, or things change, you know, and priorities change, life changes. So what I love about her book, it's so relatable to be like, yeah, you thought your life would be like this. There's this expectation, there's this external expectation, but it's not like that, and that's okay. And then you find your own path and journey, and it's way better than you could have expected, than what your expectations were. I think Lucy Score does such a good job at that.
And it's always with the relationship as like a plus, right? The relationship enhances what the character is doing, but the character is chasing, you know, in this situation, a career, a new life, a new outlook on life, right? And another good one, honestly, top of mind, is Truly Madly Deeply kind of does that.
Yeah, I would agree.
By L.J. Shen, where you're getting a character really coming back into their own. And those are the kind of stories I love, where it is about a human healing, a human changing, a human, you know, working through something. And then, like I said, the love is the sauce on top. So
it is. Yes.
Not the whole parfait.
Yeah. Exactly. Oh, I love Truly Madly Deeply. That book is so good, and I would agree with you. There's romance for sure, but there's so much more to that story. That's how I felt about Wild Side. Again, very romance forward, but I still think so much more of that story going through like grief and the journey of healing grief and like healing personal traumas. Loved it.